So maybe we should start talking with toileting and what, how we teach toileting, because the thing that I'm always fascinated about is that it's such a big deal to parents. It's such a big deal. We had somebody write in yesterday with a 6-year-old who isn't toileted, and they said, help, I'm at sea, and the school isn't able to get it done. And yet when I talk to people who are BCBAs in the field of autism, you guys all say the same thing. Oh, well, toileting is the easy thing to teach. So tell our audience why you come from that point of view when we're all going, then fix it for us, teach us.
Right. Well, first off, you're probably not going to remember everything that I say today. So go and get yourself the book by Azrin-Foxx, Toilet Training in a Day. Okay. Basically, the premise behind it is schedule bathroom visits. And the way that we do it a lot of times is we'll actually do like what we'll call a potty party, where we'll actually spend an entire day or two, whatever's needed. It's good to schedule it on a weekend, and we'll be in the bathroom. And you bring in preferred things for the child to have in there with them. So it could be a little portable DVD player or an iPad or whatever. And you have them eat salty foods so that they are always thirsty and they're drinking lots and lots of water. And that will create more need to go. And then also, it can be helpful if you don't have them wear any clothing, because then you can tell when they're starting to go and you can set them down on the toilet immediately. And then as soon as they're finished, then give them a reinforcer. So you need to have reinforcers in there as well.
And here's the thing, I think part of where the confidence comes from you guys is how many hundreds of children have you, and even older people, have you seen go through a toileting process and learn toileting?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of kids.
Hundreds, right? And across all of CARD, it's thousands and probably tens of thousands of kids. And what they tell me, because I've watched it with a lot of neurotypical kids, and I watched it happen with my son on the autism spectrum, and it was relatively easy, I gotta say, and I thought it was going to be such a big deal, but it was relatively easy. They have the confidence of knowing it can happen.
Yeah.
That this is going, not that it can, that it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. That it might take just a little bit longer for some people, but that it's going to happen.
Right.
And they've seen it with kids who are, have significant challenges and kids who don't, and they've seen it across the board. So I always like to use this show as a platform to say to people, if you're in that mindset of thinking it's never going to happen, you need to let that mindset go. What's the name of the book again?
Toilet Training in a Day.
Okay. And we've done several segments on the show talk about toilet training. And if you feel like you're not going to be able to do it at your own, make sure that you are working with a BCBA. They can make it happen.
Yeah.
And honestly, if your school is trying to toilet train the child and things aren't going well, ask them if they're using that procedure, because I think everybody has tried to reinvent that wheel, and the fact is, I know people who've done research trying to find it easy, like something different than the Fox and Azrin. It works.
Yeah.
We don't need to reinvent that wheel.
So, I mean, and initially you're in the bathroom, but then you start to become out of the bathroom and you're on a schedule, and that just depends on how often that particular child usually has to go. And so you're trying to beat them before they need to, and taking them and having them sit, and if they go, you give them a reinforcer. And soon it clicks very well, and then they start going on their own, and they're going to be initiating and everything like that. The one important thing when toilet training is not to have them wear diapers while you're training them. There is a study out showing that when doing toilet training while wearing diapers, it really slowed down the process. Because the diapers actually are very good at keeping the person feeling dry.
Yeah.
They've done such a good job with diapers these days. Now, that doesn't mean at night when they go to sleep that you can't put them in a pull-up. That's totally different.
Okay. Good note.
You can deal with bedwetting at night later, but let's work first on getting them just during the day to be trained.
I think, as parents, we don't want our kids to be uncomfortable. But the truth of the matter is that it speeds up the process of potty training. We did have a mom who wrote in because at school there had been an accident, a number 2 accident. They took that off and put them in clothes that weren't their own and packaged them to send home. and it was all very visible, and that there was a shame factor on it. And I think we need to be very careful that if there is an accident, if ever the child has an accident when there isn't the pull-up, it's frustrating to us personally, it's yucky, right? But we have to stay pretty neutral about it, correct? There should not be any shaming happening around an accident.
Right, yeah.
Or even discussion.
And just make sure you have extra clothing for the child at school all the time. So most preschools or schools anyways, when they're potty training, they ask for an extra set of clothing.
Yeah. But shaming is not a part of a well-run potty training procedure.
Right.
At all. So just something to note.